What's up, YouTube friends? My name is Danny Jones, and welcome to Jones Vibes.
Jones Vibes.
First and foremost, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you enjoy it, please go ahead and click that lightsaber button, like button, and then go ahead and click subscribe as well as hit that notification bell. That'll keep you up to date when I make more content. And the finale for Obi-Wan Kenobi has finally premiered, bringing the season to a close, and we need to talk about it. But I'll stop here really quick and say that if you haven't seen this series, there might be a few spoilers in this video, so move along. And if you have seen it, like me, good. But okay, Star Wars. It just feels so good to be talking about this. And to start out, please leave me a comment down below and just let me know what you thought about this season as a whole. Because reactions have been very mixed. And they were mixed throughout the entire journey. Even mine. And the week-to-week style and progression that this show had was fine, but with the Star Wars fandom, things can get pretty toxic online. Like, I had my problems with it, but I honestly didn't want to engage in conversation because people be crazy. But finally, it's over, and I feel like I can breathe a little bit, so let's go. Going back, episode 1 was a pretty solid start to the show. I was engaged for the most part. I think that my biggest problems really came with episodes 2 and 3, mainly within the writing as well as some of the directing choices. And I've seen a million different Star Wars fans at this point make up a million different excuses as to why things felt that way. But at the end of the day, it's okay just to admit that the writing just wasn't hitting. For me, at least. There was just a little bit of dialogue that was goofy, as well as I really didn't like the switch often from steady camera to shaky camera. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but unfortunately that's something that happened throughout the entire season, and so I just had to get used to it. But Deborah Chow definitely, she shows off her style, and that shaky camera movement is a part of it. But although at a certain point I was frustrated, it doesn't make those episodes bad by any means. I was still enjoying myself enough. I was just hoping that the second half of the season was a little bit better, and it was. Episodes 4, 5, and 6 completely made up for it, and then some. And I think a huge help came from Andrew Stanton. I noticed him in the credits a little bit later in the season as a writer, and I feel like you could feel his presence. He's really well known from Pixar, and so I think he came in and maybe helped Joby kind of tie some of the things together. At least that's how it felt. And also, now that the story is complete, pretty much all of my problems with the main plot were fully explained. The Grand Inquisitor's storyline being one of them. He got killed in that second episode, and I was like, what? And then when he came back, I was super stoked. Like, I stood up in my living room. And I can do that because I'm an adult, so. But slowly but surely, I kind of fell into like Star Wars bliss in episodes 4, 5, and 6. Like, we had Obi-Wan swimming just like in Phantom Menace, and I don't know why that was so amazing to me, but it was. There's always a bigger fish. The entire aesthetic of the Fortress Inquisitor with the TIE fighters and the stormtroopers, and then Obi-Wan kind of getting his Force powers back and returning to form. I also want to give a shout out to some of the newer characters because I really enjoyed them. We had Roken, Tala, and Haja, and they were all very interesting in their own way. And also, I haven't mentioned little Leia yet, but she was phenomenal. Like, from the jump. Shout out to Vivian Lyra Blair, like, you go, girl. And then we have the newcomer Reva, and she was a massive part of the plot. Like, honestly, going into it, I didn't think that her character would play such an important role, but it did. And as the season progressed and suddenly we find out so much more about her backstory, like, I just became all in on her character. And I thought Moses Ingram was phenomenal, especially in episode 5. Moses Ingram gave an amazing performance. It was just such an interesting way to go, like having her be in the Jedi Temple for Order 66, and all the younglings are killed around her, and Anakin stabs her, and then having that shot-for-shot connection when Vader stabs her. It really blew my mind, and I've seen a lot of people complain, like, how did she survive? The only way that I can really think is that maybe as a child she had some sort of surgery like Fennec Shand did, and kind of got that repaired, so when Vader stabbed her this time, it was like robotic or something. That's why it didn't kill her. Otherwise, I don't know. But she definitely feels tangled on the inside. And for the same reason as everyone, Darth Vader. Darth freaking Vader. Hearing James Earl Jones and then, seeing Hayden Christensen, as well as seeing, him and Ewan McGregor training, him as a Padawan still, and Obi-Wan Kenobi as his master before Attack of the Clones. Like, that was so cool to me. That's my, as well as so many other people's childhood right there. Like, that's what I grew up on, and that's what I was hoping for in this show. And also the team that brought Vader to life was incredible too. Like, that duel with Reva was insane. The way that they, made it very apparent that he has this kind of terrible tech that Palpatine gave him as his arms and legs, and he's slow, but he's still just so powerful. And then grabbing that ship out from midair and like pulling it down. I was like, yes! That's awesome. It was so cool. And then moving on to the finale, I mean, the rematch that we got really was awesome. I loved it. And they brought such a cool and interesting planet/location into play. And there was just so much raw emotion. And Kenobi, bursting out of the rocks and proving that he is superior and still is the master. After Vader, he finally kind of got the high ground on him and buried him. It was so great. I will say, though, that it seems a little similar to Avatar: The Last Airbender, like the final fight. It's honestly very similar, if you think about it. And I don't know, that's my favorite show of all time, so maybe that's why I was crying so hard. Or because it was Vader and Obi-Wan. We see Kenobi like we've never seen him. We're so used to seeing him kind of on the defense, and he goes straight into attack mode, truly demonstrating that he is in control. Slamming the butt of his lightsaber into Darth Vader's chest, jumping off a rock and cutting down his helmet. Also, when he slices down on his helmet, it creates that cut from Return of the Jedi when Luke removes the helmet. Like, that was just insane. And getting into this back and forth dialogue where you're looking at Vader's face and he says that he killed Anakin. Like, Anakin is no more. And he's just so messed up, and his voice is changing back and forth, kind of that James Earl Jones, dark Darth Vader into Hayden Christensen, the Anakin. And it was honestly creepy. Like, he even lets out a little smile at one point. And meanwhile, Ewan McGregor gave this performance. He's tearing up. He's looking at his brother. And I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was so satisfying as a Star Wars fan. It's honestly one of my favorite scenes that we've ever gotten from any Star Wars property. A lot of that is because of, obviously, the buildup over 20 years. But the other part of that is the acting and the storytelling and the music. It was beautiful. And aside from that battle, the finale really checked all the boxes for me. Reva's arc fleshing out, she's going after Luke on Tatooine, and she's standing over him, and she sees herself in little Luke Skywalker. And that moment was just really powerful, seeking revenge against Vader, but in turn, she turns into him almost. And then she realizes that. It was just sick. Also, there was a lot of attention to detail as well as for canon in this episode, Vader saying that he killed Anakin. You had Luke never face or see a lightsaber throughout that whole entire scene. If you go back and watch it, he does not. And then the continuity of having Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Peace back as Owen and Aunt Beru. It really was well done. But then, Palpatine. I knew they would do it. They nailed his look, and I was just so excited when he came on screen. And then, as we leave Vader, we finally got the Imperial March. And we didn't get it throughout the entire season, and that was one of my problems. But it makes sense. Like, he wasn't there yet. When he accepts and embraces the fact that he needs to move on, and he's been weakened by his connection to Obi-Wan. We see in real time as he's slowly turning into that menacing presence from the original trilogy. And then the final two scenes were just magic. They were magic for me. You had Kenobi going back to Alderaan to return Lola and pretty much say goodbye to Leia. And they bring in Leia's theme and the speech that he gives Leia about her parents was just something else. You know, we've gotten a lot of Luke, and we've gotten to know Leia, you know, obviously over the years, but it's just so great to have even more depth to that character and seeing which parts of her are from her dad and which parts of her are from her mom. And also back to the continuity, you know, him telling her that nobody can know. Like, I feel like they chose their words very carefully in this final episode. And then back to Tatooine and Ben Kenobi introducing himself to Luke and saying, "Hello there." Obviously, the crowd just went wild with that one, but then, you know, walking through the Dune Sea, and through a mirage, we see Qui-Gon Jinn appear. And honestly, this is when the tears started flowing for me. I was just like, oh. He looks so beautiful, bro. My God. The way this season finished was so over the top and amazing. And honestly, I just think that it was a massive success. And I'm happy to say that. I was honestly a bit worried, especially around the halfway point. But Disney, they did it. For me, this only adds to everything else. And now that it's all out, I can watch all 6 episodes back to back. And I feel like it is going to kind of help me with that first half of the season. But yeah, good vibes all around. You know, people are saying that there's going to be a season 2, and honestly, I don't need it. This was the perfect bridge for Vader and Kenobi, and I thought the structure was great. Like, if they don't have a season 2, I think that would be totally fine. If they do have one, obviously, I'm going to be watching it, and I'm sure I'm going to love it. But what about you? Would you like another season of Kenobi? Let me know down in the comments. Also, there are rumors of a Cal Kestis show or a Reva spinoff, and I don't know, would you be interested in that? I do want to hear your thoughts on this, so please don't hesitate to comment below, as well as if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click that like button for me. That helps me get seen by more people just like you, as well as hit subscribe. I would love to have you be a part of this Jones Vibes community. I'm also on social media at Jones Vibes Only, and yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but that was Obi-Wan Kenobi. As always, I hope you all are safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you next time.
Jones Vibes.